You need to hear this right now. Not tomorrow, not when you finish whatever you are doing, right now. Because I am 90 years old and I just figured something out about 6 years ago that would have changed my entire life if I had known it at 25 or 30 or even 60. And the thing I figured out is so simple, it is going to make you angry. It made me angry. It still makes me angry. Here it is. You are waiting for something that is never going to arrive. You are waiting for the right time. You are waiting until things calm down. You are waiting until the kids are older, until the debt is paid off, until you get that promotion, until Monday, until January, until you feel ready. I know you are doing this because I did it for 60-something years, and I am telling you from the other side of all that waiting that the thing you are waiting for does not exist. There is no moment where everything lines up and the universe taps you on the shoulder and says, "Okay, now you can start living." That moment is a lie. I believed that lie every single day for decades, and it cost me almost everything that mattered. My name is Gloria. I managed a grocery store in a small town in Michigan for 29 years. Same store, same town, same parking lot with the same pothole near the cart return that nobody ever fixed in almost 3 decades. I started there in 1971 stocking canned goods, and I ended up running the whole operation by the late 70s. And I was good at it. I am not being modest, and I am not bragging. I am just telling you the truth. I knew every supplier, every delivery driver, every family that walked through those doors. I knew whose kid had an allergy, who was going through a divorce and buying sad frozen dinners for one, who was on a fixed income and needed me to quietly put aside the dented cans at a discount. I cared about that store the way some people care about a child, and that was the problem. Because while I was caring about that store 6 days a week, 51 weeks a year, I was waiting on everything else. I was waiting to take my kids to Mackinac Island. My daughter asked me every summer from the time she was 8 until she was about 14, and then she just stopped asking. I always said, "Next summer. Next summer the schedule will be better. Next summer we will have more staff. Next summer, next summer, next summer." She is 53 now. We have never been to Mackinac Island together. Not once. She took her own kids, and I saw the pictures on her refrigerator, and I cannot describe to you what that felt like. To see proof that she did the thing without me, and the world kept spinning, and she did not need me there after all. But I should have been there. I should have been in those pictures. My husband Dale used to say to me, "Gloria, the store will not burn down if you take a week off." And I would say, "You do not know that." I actually said that, as if a grocery store in Belleville, Michigan, was a ticking time bomb that required my presence every waking hour, or it would explode. When I think about the arrogance of that, the idea that no one else could handle what I handled, it makes me sick now. Because you know what happened when I finally retired in 2000? The store kept going. A new manager came in. The shelves got stocked. The registers opened at 7 in the morning. Nobody called me in a panic. Nobody fell apart. The world did not need me the way I had convinced myself it did. And I had traded almost 30 years of living for that delusion. Let me tell you what waiting actually looks like from the inside, because I do not think young people understand this. Waiting does not feel like waiting. It feels like being responsible. It feels like being needed. It feels like doing the right thing. When I skipped my son's baseball games because the Thursday delivery was coming in and I had to be there to check the invoices, I did not think I was making a bad choice. I thought I was being a good manager. When I worked through my own birthday 11 years in a row, I did not feel sorry for myself. I felt proud. I thought my sacrifice meant something, and in a way it did. The store ran well. Customers were happy. The owner trusted me. But sacrifice is only noble when you are actually choosing it, and I was not choosing anything. I was just defaulting to the easiest decision, which was to keep doing what I was already doing and put off the harder thing, which was asking myself what I actually wanted. I will tell you what I wanted. I wanted to learn to paint. I saw a woman at a craft fair once in maybe 1982, and she was painting these little watercolors of barns and fields, and something about the way she looked while she was doing it, this calm in her face. I thought, I want that. I want to sit somewhere quiet and make something that has nothing to do with inventory or profit margins or whether the dairy case is at the right temperature. I bought a little watercolor set that same week, the tin kind with the little oval pans of paint. I put it on the shelf in my bedroom. It sat there for 22 years. I opened it in 2004, 4 years after I retired, and the paints had dried out and cracked and were completely useless. 22 years sitting on a shelf. That watercolor set is probably the best metaphor for my entire life. You might be thinking, well, Gloria, you had bills to pay, you had a family. You did not have the luxury of sitting around painting barns. And you would be right about some of that. I did have bills. I did have 3 kids who needed shoes and braces and eventually help with college. I am not saying I should have quit my job and wandered off to be an artist. That would be ridiculous, and I would never tell you to do that either. What I am saying is that I had Sundays. I had those. Every single week for 29 years, I had at least Sunday, and usually I spent it catching up on housework and being too tired to do anything else, and telling myself that one day, when things slowed down, I would open that tin of paints. Things never slowed down. Not once. Not in 29 years. If you are waiting for things to slow down, I need you to hear me. They do not slow down. You slow down. Your body slows down. Your energy slows down. And one day you look up and you are 70, and your hands shake a little, and your eyes are not what they were, and the thing you were waiting to do requires a steadiness you no longer have. That is what waiting costs. It costs you your body. My husband died in 2014. We were married for 55 years. And I need to tell you something about those 55 years that I have never said out loud to anyone. For about the last 15 years of his life, Dale was sick. Not dramatically sick. Not the kind of sick where you rush to the hospital and there is a big moment. He had diabetes and it just slowly took things from him. His energy, his eyesight, his ability to walk more than a block without stopping. And during those 15 years, I kept telling myself that when he got better, we would do the things we had always talked about. We had always talked about driving out to see the Grand Canyon. We had always talked about going to a Tigers game at the old stadium before they tore it down. We had always talked about sitting on a beach somewhere warm and doing nothing for an entire week. He never got better. He got worse. Slowly, and then quickly. And by the time I realized that better was not coming, he could barely leave the house. The last trip we ever took together was to the hospital, and we came home without him. So let me ask you something, and I want you to be honest with yourself. Who are you waiting for? Whose better are you counting on? Because the people you love are not going to send you a memo when their time starts running out. They are just going to get a little slower, a little quieter, a little further away. And then one day the chair across from you is empty, and you are going to sit there thinking about all the things you were going to do when the time was right. The time was right 1,000 times, and you missed it because you were busy. I know some of you are watching this thinking that you are different, that you are 25 or 30, and you have so much time that this does not apply to you yet. And I want to talk directly to you, because you are the ones I am most worried about. You think time is this big open field stretching out in front of you, and you can get to things whenever you want. I thought that too. I was 35 and I thought I had forever. Then I blinked and I was 50, and I thought, okay, well, I still have time. Then I was 65, and I was starting to panic a little. Then I was 75, and the panic was constant and quiet, and I stopped talking about it because who wants to hear a 75-year-old woman say she feels like she has wasted her life? Nobody wants to hear that. So I just kept it inside and smiled at Thanksgiving and told everyone I was fine. I'm going to give you some things I wish someone had grabbed me by the shoulders and screamed at me when I was your age. The first thing is that your job will replace you. I do not care how important you are, how much they rely on you, how many times your boss has said we could not do this without you. They can, they will. I ran that grocery store like it was my own heartbeat, and they replaced me in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. 29 years of my life, and the transition took 14 days. If your job can replace you in 2 weeks, it does not deserve 30 years of your Sundays. The second thing is that the people who love you will stop asking. My daughter stopped asking about Mackinac Island. My son stopped inviting me to his baseball games. My husband stopped bringing up the Grand Canyon. They did not stop loving me. They just learned that my answer was always going to be, not yet. And eventually, not yet sounds exactly like no. If someone you love is asking you for your time right now, today, this week, you need to understand that they are not going to ask forever. People protect themselves. They stop reaching for someone who keeps pulling away, and they find someone else to reach for. Or they stop reaching altogether. Both are devastating. The third thing is that rest is not a reward you earn. It is a thing your body needs while it can still use it. I did not take a real vacation until I was 64 years old. 64. I went to a lake house in northern Michigan, and I sat on the dock and I cried for about 2 hours because I did not know what to do with myself. I had so completely lost the ability to be still that stillness felt like a punishment. I had to teach myself how to relax, like a skill I had let atrophy. Do not do this to yourself. Rest now, not because you have earned it, but because you are a living thing that requires it. The fourth thing is the hardest one, and it is this. You are allowed to want things that do not make sense to anyone else. You are allowed to want to paint barns. You are allowed to want to learn piano at 47. You are allowed to want to go back to school at 52. You are allowed to change direction completely, to want something so quiet and personal that you cannot even explain it to your spouse or your best friend. The things that call to you in a whisper are the things you are going to scream about on your deathbed. I know that because I am almost there, and I can hear that little watercolor set rattling around in my chest every single day. I want to tell you one more thing, and then I will let you go. About 5 years ago, so when I was 85, my granddaughter bought me a new set of watercolor paints. Not the cheap tin kind, a real set, with good brushes and thick paper that does not curl up when it gets wet. And I started painting. At 85. My hands shake. My eyesight is not great. The barns I paint look like they have been through an earthquake. But I sit at my kitchen table every morning with a cup of coffee, and I paint, and I feel that calm that I saw in that woman's face at the craft fair 43 years ago. I finally have it. It took me 43 years. 43 years of waiting. And here is what makes me want to reach through this screen and shake you. It did not have to take 43 years. It did not have to take 43 months. I could have started the week I bought that first little tin. I could have painted on Sundays. I could have painted for 30 minutes before bed. I could have painted terrible, awful, embarrassing paintings, and no one would have cared, and I would have had 4 decades of this feeling instead of 5 years of it. You have something like that. Some quiet thing you keep pushing to the side. Some little whisper that you keep telling to be quiet because you are busy, because it is not practical, because you will get to it later. I am begging you, do not wait 43 years. Do not wait 43 days. Go do it this week. Go do it badly. Go do it when you are tired and it does not come out right and you feel foolish. Because foolish and alive beats dignified and full of regret every single time. And I would know because I have been both. I am 90 years old. I have had a good life. I raised 3 kids who turned out okay. I kept a store running that fed a town. I was married to a good man who deserved more of my time than I gave him. But the thing that I know now, the thing that took me almost my entire life to understand, is that waiting is not patience. Waiting is fear in a nice outfit. It looks responsible. It looks mature. It sounds like I will get to it when the time is right. But it is just fear. Fear that you will fail. Fear that people will judge you. Fear that the thing you want will not be as good as you imagined. And so you wait. And the years go by. And one day you are 90 years old, sitting at a kitchen table, painting watercolor barns with shaking hands, grateful that you got here at all, but grieving every single year you spent waiting for permission that was never going to come. Do not wait. You have my permission. But more than that, you do not need it. You never did.